Don't mind my
Boom.
take off the.
We're live here. Good afternoon, Neil here with the Off the Lip radio show. I think I'm going to do one of my other little shows called Who's Who in Santa Cruz with Mr. Ed Mazurek and my dear friend Tracey Weiss from the O'Neill C. Odyssey Foundation. And apparently they got a whole bunch of do-re-mi, and we're going to find out what the heck that's for.
Right now.
Right now. But look at the beautiful view out here. Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen,
for it.
wherever you guys are watching, you know what? Santa Cruz is a beautiful spot. Ed, good to see you, buddy.
Robert.
What did I say? What did I say, Ed?
I don't know.
You know, I'm so
Robert.
I'm so messed up from where I just was at. So.
You want to hear something funny? My brother's name is Ed, so he.
Is it really?
So he would really appreciate you calling me Ed. So.
He'll appreciate it.
So
We've always known.
this is for Ed and Robert. Okay, sorry about my mistake, but you know I do make a lot of mistakes, as TC everyone points out.
Yes.
But let's talk about the what is the California Marine Sanctuary Foundation? What is it and what does it do?
Sure. The California Marine Sanctuary Foundation is a non-for-profit 501c3 that supports various projects throughout the state of California in marine conservation, in water quality, in climate change resilience, which we'll talk about today,
Okay.
and in coastal restoration.
Okay.
So we work in those four areas, and we have a long-standing partnership with the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary and with the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary.
Okay.
And we've done a ton of projects with the state of
Aren't
California.
there a lot of people involved in doing what you do, like Save the Waves and aren't there a lot of people that are involved?
There's a lot of marine conservation,
right? Isn't there a whole?
NGOs.
Isn't that you guys have a club or something? It's like
It's
there's like 100 of
do
you
have a
guys,
club.
right? There's like 100 of you guys. I mean, this is the most taken care of bay in the world, I think. You know.
Yeah, it's truly a nexus of environmental leaders that
Right.
have descended on the Santa Cruz area. I mean, I've been here since the early '90s, and I just feel like this place just gravitates people that care about the environment.
But
I
the
think
thing
so-
to note about the California Marine Sanctuary Foundation is, right, like you said, there is a ton of people taking care of the Monterey Bay.
Yeah.
But the thing about the ocean is the water doesn't stay right here. So we take a larger perspective, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about what can we do along the shorelines, because California has some of the richest diversity up and down our coast. And so it's not just focused here on Monterey Bay, but up and down, right? Channel Islands, Gulf of the Farallones, and what we can do across.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think CMSF is an interesting organization because it's really a backbone organization, right?
This one.
This one, yeah.
Top 5 things that give me the top 5 things that you guys work on a is that daily? Would it be a daily basis?
Yeah.
Top 5 things that you work on.
We run a program called Blue Whales, Blue Skies, and Blue Whales, Blue Skies works with the shipping industry that traverses up and down the California coast to slow down in areas where there are whales and near coastal communities. So these areas are called vessel speed reduction zones.
I think it's like a speed limit.
Yeah, it's like a speed limit for the ocean. And through our participants that slow down in these areas, they kill 50% less whales than they would if they were going normal speeds in those areas.
Okay.
That would be one, which is super unique.
Yeah.
I think our ag plastics program with the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary is significantly impactful and unique. And we work with the ag industry to address plastic pollution. And so if you're driving up and down the Monterey Bay area and you see all of the sheets of plastic that are over the strawberry fields, oftentimes those deteriorate onto the fields or are piled up in the corners of the fields and turn into microplastics, and those microplastics end up in the Monterey Bay.
Right.
So we work on that issue, and we work to incentivize the agricultural industry and how to address that. That's
Should
another one.
Should that be something the farmers should be taken care of? Or
Yeah, and absolutely.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, and it's a big problem that ultimately, unless the farmers know it's a problem, they're not going to address it. And so we work in partnership with farmers to let them know that that there's better practices that they could that they could move forward that will address this issue, and we work to address that issue.
Who pays for that? Who pays for the removal of the plastic and send it to a safe place?
We're working on a over $2 million national sea grant right now to address that.
Okay.
And some of that money, some of that $2 million specifically goes to industry innovation. We're working with the industry, like drip tape. Drip tape is all made of plastic.
Right.
And we're working with drip tape manufacturers to recycle that and to work on ways to better recycle that.
Let me ask you, O'Neill Sea Odyssey, how come you guys are involved in this?
So I'm actually here not in my role as executive director of the
you're-
O'Neill
oh, a
Staff.
different
I am
hat.
the board chair.
Oh, you're a different hat.
I have a different hat.
Okay.
Today. Yeah. But I've been involved with the California Marine Sanctuary Foundation for probably 5 years now.
Right.
And really have just been impressed with, again, thinking about how the different levels of technology and innovation that get brought into the work that's happening here.
How long has the Marine Sanctuary Foundation been in business?
We just started our 30th year.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So
you guys are a bunch of rookies.
I knew the year, but I actually looked up the date yesterday, and we were incorporated August 11th which was yesterday, right? 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
So we have champagne here, shouldn't we?
Apparently, we should.
Of 1995.
Yeah.
So next summer will be our 30th anniversary.
What's been their biggest claim to fame?
Is
there like a Mount Everest?
So
I think this grant,
early,
grant is our
Well, I was
biggest
gonna- yeah,
claim to fame, really.
But early on, we really supported the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary's Simon program. And Simon was, so when the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary was created, we still didn't have a good understanding of what was out in the bay and what was in the deep water of the bay. And there was this multi-million-dollar, multi-year effort to do research in the Monterey Bay Canyon and throughout the Monterey Bay to better describe what the sanctuary was. And we were involved in that from the early days.
This bay out here is pretty healthy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you see it day on day. You just go stand there, you watch birds.
No part of the ocean is very healthy. And this is we live in a pretty amazing area.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, even the Monterey Bay, as pristine as it is filled with microplastics, is filled with macroplastics. Right. Has healthy fisheries and deep sea ecosystems, but we need to protect that on a daily basis.
Right. Protect the Monterey Bay. We should all be doing that. Beach cleanup is one thing I think is important, right?
Yeah.
Right. We don't have enough of them.
No, and we don't have enough beach cleanups, and we're increasingly having less and less beaches because of sea level rise.
Yeah.
Sea level rise, the beaches, the sand disappearing. It's amazing how you see so much less sand.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it's the whole thing with sea level rise, and I don't know what. I think it's just personally, it's how you're battling Mother Nature.
Yeah.
I talked to those guys in the West Cliff over there. I got involved with that over there. I'm like, dude, you guys are involved. Mother Nature is tough to take it on.
Are you talking about Westcliff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Westcliff is definitely an area, like as Gary Griggs from the Long Marine Lab and the University of California, Santa Cruz has talked about for 35 years now. That Westcliff is a great microcosm of you could see the coastline changing in real time, literally. And there's obviously there's dune areas and stuff like that. You could see it changing over the years, but Westcliff Drive is happening and changing on a regular basis, and things are falling into the ocean right in the surf zones.
I don't know why they didn't do what they did at Pleasure Point. Why didn't they do that before? Do that over there? Because that seems to be working a little. I think it's working a little bit. Why they didn't do that over there, I don't know why.
I am not wise enough to know or know
Right.
the history
I'm
deep
sure there's a
enough to
reason
be
for
make
it.
a comment. For
I
sure.
remember, I hate to, I don't want to be the one talking, you guys are talking. I remember when they did that wall at Pleasure Point, I interviewed this gentleman, he's like probably in his late 80s. And he lived on the end of 36 on East Cliff Drive. And I interviewed him, and he goes, Neil, across the street here, we used to cross the street next to Jack's house, used to be a grass lawn with a dance deck. People used to have live music out there, jazz bands back in the early 1900s, and it was called Breakers Beach. People would come down there and dance and nightlife and stuff. No, not there.
Yeah.
Not there.
It's not there.
Well, and what about like Castle Beach? Do you know? Like
Yeah.
Castle Beach is like right here, right over there.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you know anything about that? Like I don't know. I just know the name, and I know it doesn't exist anymore. Really.
A lot of it shifted with when the yacht harbor.
It used to be the
Yeah.
water, the ways of this is the biggest beach in Santa Cruz.
It is now the biggest beach. It was not, but when they put in the harbor here and they built the jetty, it started to shift the sediment that moved down, and that's what then changed Castle Beach.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. The grant that you guys got for who applied for it? What did you apply for? And
You know,
what's the result of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like I feel the best way to answer that is we applied for it as a community. I mean, the California Marine Sanctuary Foundation is the lead applicant in this grant, but there are 29 or 28, including us, partner organizations that are going to be working on this grant. We applied
20?
to 28.
28.
Yeah. 29 in total.
So what you put 28 to 7.1 million doesn't come out to be very much for each.
$71.1 million.
$71.1 million.
$71.1 million.
Divided by 28.
And well, it's not divided in that way.
Not quite, but and it's a 5-year grant, so
Okay.
and it's not just a one-time investment.
Right.
It's going to it's going to start a huge chain reaction of like creating some investment here.
All right.
Yeah, but it's from Biden and Harris's Inflation Reduction Act.
Okay.
So they had $575 million dedicated to climate change resilience, and coastal communities, including Great Lakes communities, could apply for that funding. And at the end of the day, there were two tracks. There was like a $2 million funding, and then those bold enough to apply for $75 million was the max you could apply for. And the Monterey Bay community got together. The California Marine Sanctuary Foundation facilitated a meeting of community organizers.
When you say the California community, who are you talking about?
The Monterey Bay community.
Yeah, I mean, just any
So-
Joe Blow off the street? Or
No.
But again, to the earlier part, again, this is a nexus of amazing thought leaders, right?
Yeah.
So there are some very smart people that came
Yeah.
together
Right.
and said, here's some ideas.
I actually have, if you don't mind me using a cheat sheet, I actually have,
No, go ahead.
I'm not going to read everybody, but the Big Sur Land Trust, California State Parks, California State University Monterey Bay, Central Coast Climate Collaborative, Central Coast Prescribed Burn Association, the City of Santa Cruz, the City of Watsonville, the County of Santa Cruz through the Pajaro Flood Management District. All of those entities are getting funding from this.
Yeah.
The City of Santa Cruz is getting $8 million from this grant to create living shorelines and work on restoration of the San Lorenzo River. That's just a few of
We've got the
of
Land Trust of
entities.
Santa Cruz County. We've got, you
Yeah.
know, there's Watsonville Wetlands to watch. Hartnell College. This is not just here. This is the entire Monterey Bay coming
Okay.
together
So
to take
yeah.
some action.
You know, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money.
No, it's not a lot of money. Like
No.
so what happened is so last summer we brought this and it was in July. We brought this broader group together on a virtual Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And there were close to 100 individuals, and you know this was in the middle of vacation season, so there were a lot of people that like couldn't make it because they were on vacation.
Yeah.
But we got over 100 people to come on that Zoom meeting to discuss just the opportunity and the potential for getting this grant.
Right.
And we created an Excel spreadsheet over the preceding weeks, and there were quickly over $150 million worth of climate adaptation projects that were high priority that needed to be addressed in the Monterey Bay Area alone. And this was a max of 75 million. So we had the thankless task of like, all right, well, we got to take this one off, we got to take this one off, and to laser focus it on a proposal that we thought could win this funding. And so there's literally 75, even though we got $71 million, there's 75, 80, $90 million worth of projects that are worthy and that need to be funded and that are not funded as part of this. That just gives you kind of a small understanding of like the scale of what we're talking about in terms of like how to address climate change impacts, and climate change is in the billions of dollars, not in the millions of dollars.
So in 5 years' time, let's just take a hypothetical. 5 years' time, what do you think is going to come about from this grant that you received? What people who are watching the video today can actually see some kind of change and see something that money's gone towards?
We focused on two impacts in the Monterey Bay Area that the community knows well.
Right.
Flooding and storm surge, which goes along with flooding, and fires. So as part of this grant, we're creating living shorelines that are going to better mitigate and address storm surge as the storms come in closer, and sea level rise for that matter. So there's a significant amount of money that's going to living shorelines, and there's a lot of money going to restoration of the San Lorenzo River, the Pajaro River, importantly, and the Carmel River, and other riverian areas like that. And what that is doing is creating buffers for coastal communities so they don't get flooded. So we're specifically targeting like areas around Los Lomas and Castroville and Pajaro, which frequently get flooded during these climate events, and we're restoring the riparian area so there's less of a chance that it will go above that area and flood these communities.
So those two things.
Yeah, and then there's fires. We're doing controlled burns.
Right.
We're addressing some of the fuel and creating fuel breaks. To address fire incidences in this area.
Yeah. It seems like it doesn't seem like to me that if you spend, let's say you spend half that money on coastal and sea level rise. We have another storm like we did last year, where it took out, what was it, 2 years ago? Or was it last year? It took out
2 years ago, yeah.
Does it, to me, I'm no expert, but it seems like it'd be throwing money away because trying to beat and combat Mother Nature, who's gonna win.
I mean, that's a fair assessment. I mean, it's like, over the years, when we're talking about sea level rise specifically, over the years we've gone from, all right, let's reduce our carbon footprint, let's do all of these climate things to ensure that, that these climate effects don't happen. And now we're talking about quote unquote managed retreat. And we're talking about how do we build cities and coastal areas that with the knowledge that things are changing rapidly. And this $75 million we think is going to significantly address coastal flooding in Pajaro and Castroville. There's no doubt about it that the work that we do and the work that is funded is going to address it.
Were levees poorly built there in Pajaro?
I'm not a Army Corps of Engineers person, but I will say, but I will say, like these disadvantaged communities keep on getting flooded over and over and over, and some of other areas with more wealthy communities seem to have the infrastructure in place to withstand climate change. So you could be the judge of that.
What else you gonna say then, Ms. Weiss? What else you got?
Well, I think Robert hits on some really good points.
It's Ed, isn't it, Ed?
No, exactly.
Well, I keep on saying that, but I don't want to get more happy.
But the other piece that's really interesting about this funding is we're talking about building workforce development. So it's not just addressing some of the immediate concerns. It's really looking forward. It's about creating a climate network of amazing leaders, bringing all those minds together, right? So we're not just throwing money away, but we're really leveraging the knowledge in this area to think more about what can we do.
Yeah.
We know that climate change is here, and what do we need to do to take action going forward? So we're really trying to bring great minds together to take action, and we're trying to build a workforce that's going to be ready to take on those steps.
So great minds should contact you, or are you going out finding these great minds?
Well, we're working with some amazing entities, right, to build a pathway for people to think about green careers and to think about climate careers. So it's not just starting with young children, but when you've graduated high school, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
How do we build new pathways? So working with Watsonville Wetlands Watch, how do we build a climate corps that is ready to start taking some action?
Yeah.
And they've got some really exciting work happening down there.
Yeah.
So I think we've got some really great projects in line.
Yeah, and in terms of this, like creating the next generation of climate leaders, it goes all the way from high school kids at Watsonville Wetlands Watch to Hartnell College and working with community colleges to CSUMB and UCSC.
Right.
And so it goes all the way from high school to graduates
Yeah.
and ensuring that that they have the tools that are needed to be the next leaders. In
As
this.
they say, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Right?
And as we know, this area attracts climate leaders.
Yeah. In ending this interview, can you tell me the website and where else you guys on social media?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best place to go
Yeah.
is the California Marine Sanctuary Foundation website, which is California MSF.org.
Now people can join in.
Yep.
Right? They can do whatever they want, right? And I think you're on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook.
We are.
On all the things. And join the newsletter and you'll get all up-to-date information.
How do you get the newsletter?
If you go through the website, you can sign
Oh, you can
up
get the
right there.
newsletter. Okay. Cool.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Are we good?
I think
Yeah.
we're good.
We're killing it all.
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you, Emma.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Tracey.
again.
Thanks.
You're welcome, man.
All right.